The flooded savannas means the job of fishing gets easy. Just set the nets at night and at sunrise, it's time to collect the catch. Thus begins the day here at Karasabai in the South Pakaraimas, near Guyana's border with Brazil and Venezuela. The terrain is one of dramatic tabletop mountains and rolling valleys. The Pakaraimas literally means giant testicles. All I could deduce is that it takes real balls to explore these parts. The remote villages, with intriguing names themselves such as Urong Paru, Tigapon, Tipiru, Koshibai, Taushida, Paipang and Rukumoto, make up the territory of the Macushi people, one of 9 nations of indigenous peoples in Guyana. Before we get into any details about that, one of the most curious things about Karasabai is the presence of donkeys, lots of them, which you would not find anywhere else in the Pakaraimas. How they got here depends on who you talk to. No one really has a definite story.
We believe that they are a blessing and maybe a symbol of good luck.
So you tell me in this whole South Rupununi, nowhere else got so much a donkey?
No, only here in Karasabai.
Okay. And people don't use them to do anything right now?
Not in this age. Before they made good use of them in terms of transportation, fetching cargo. Yeah.
Karasabai offers the intrigue of unfamiliar culture. Much of what happens and what is known is steeped in legend, such as the name of the village itself. To find out, we go back to the place where the original settlers called home. Today, the area is surrounded by trees and other vegetation. The story is that a treasure chest was magically transformed into a stone by Macunaima, a legendary being of the indigenous peoples. We found a stone which many people who today occupy the villages in the Karasabai sub-district have never seen themselves. To tell us more, local resident and tour guide Andrew Albert.
So this here is the canister, which we all know as the Karasa in Macushi. And you check when we were coming just now, the kind of 2 rocks down there. That was the pool down there, the deepest pool in this little creek down here. So this is the Karasa and that is the Ibay. So Karasa Ibay, and that is how the district commissioner in those days, in early 60s, pronounced the word Karasabai. And since then, the spelling left like that, as Karasabai, not Karasa Ibay. So recently when we were doing like an updates of our own village, this is how we come across the name. And I had to ask where it is located, and we had to come and look for it. And we find it. So this is the canister. According to the older folks, this is a canister where the coins are hidden. Could be.
So it used to be a treasury chest?
Yeah, in those days, no? Yeah.
Oh.
So they say this is for the coins, and the ones up there, you could see the white mark down there. This is a bigger one. This for the dollars. This with the paper there. So if you want the keys, we got talk to the Macunaima for open to see how much cents they have inside there. So this is the story behind of these 2 rocks down here. And in those days, you can't even come and see like how we sit down near it. They had an after effects. If you look at it or if you touch it, it's like fever, vomiting, sore eyes and those things. But now it is so accustomed to the people, there is no more after effects. So do not be afraid. If you want to touch it, you could touch it.
Needless to say, I didn't bother to find out. I'd rather keep the intrigue alive and leave Andrew to continue the story. So the story was that it was a chest, and then somehow the Great Spirit, according to your traditions, transformed it into this rock.
Yes.
Do you know, according to the legend, why did that happen?
Maybe these two brothers, they always call them like that, the Macunaima brothers. One is Inskirang and one is the Anige. So Anige was the wicked one, like transforming the canisters like how it is like today, no? So he was the wicked person than his big brother, according to the story from the older folks. So they were rich in those days, the two brothers. So a lot of sense in his bag can fetch them. So he transformed the rock there, and they elected it remaining right down there.
Apart from the legend of this rock, the history, belief and culture of the Macushi people of Karasabai are tied to their belief in spirits, as Andrew tells us. One that remains today is that of the PI, or spiritual healer.
In the past, we call them the PI man. I think they used to follow their type of spirit then, to cure the sick, even to kill. You know, they have that powerful spiritual belief. And these days we have one PI, they're trying to be PI man, but they are not real, that PI person. But in those days was real. When I say real, it's like a person can talk to you without you hearing, in spirit. That's how it used to happen before. And they ask the spirit to cure what type of sickness you have. The same spirit would tell whoever is working on you the type of sickness. And they have that prayer, the spiritual prayer. I hear many people calling it a high science prayer, but that is not high science. I would say there's the Macunaima spirit is still existing in few of our people in the village, those who know those kind of prayers to cure people.
We'll not take Andrew's word for it alone, so we've come to talk to Shirley Johnny. She has seen the PI man at work.
They beat some leaf, I'm not saying some leaf. They got a special leaf to do this beating of the leaf. Nah? They got a special tree, a big tree, like a big guinea tree. It's similar like guinea leaf. So that is the PI man beater or whatever they call it, maybe.
So, but you have experienced it, or you've seen one of it happen?
I never. I saw it. I see how the PI man tie up. You know, they bring the leaf, they tie up, and so it's. I think it's 4, 2 at the side and 2 it's 4. I think, or maybe if the man say he want to last to 11 o'clock because it's night time, they just do it. No, sometimes they start 8 o'clock. If they leave, they beat out for them. No? You can go up to 11, 12, depends on the leaf or the cigarette, whatever it is there for him to work this PI thing.
The work of the spiritual healers in Karasabai is known by others, such as the head teacher of the school, Michelle George. She has lived in the village from birth.
It wasn't like this before. Houses were far, many maybe in the back dam, in the mountain. It wasn't like this years. Well, I was born in 74. I met Karasabai. It wasn't like this when I know myself. It had shingle houses and leaf, truly. But now I see it develop. Here is zinc house and you see born brick house. I live in a house not like this. It was shingle house, a big shingle house with 1 room, but it was a big house, only 1 bedroom with everybody hammock tie up like this, like spider. And then I remember we used to eat on the ground to put our tuma and then we sit around. That was our culture. But I can't remember from what year we start to use tables. Now we get benches, chairs. Yes, and so, well, I married, then I became a teacher. Then I have a house. We hadn't a house like this with barn bricks, no? It was the adobe bricks.
Teacher George is familiar with the work of the PI man and was willing to share what she knows.
When a baby got sick, you know, they had the PI man used to say this prayer, like if a child get a fright, There is the blue man, the PI man. They will simply give the person water or something to say prayer over, and then you give the child to drink or soak the head and things like that. And then, of course, the Macunaima. That's what I know about in the Amerindian. Macunaima. I don't know if you heard about it. They have the Macunaima. If you get a fright, and the same PI man can make you get well. That's the belief. Well, they beat the leaf. I experienced that. I've seen that. Yes, a PI man beating leaf at night, and the person gets well. That's before the doctors came, before nurses came. So up to today, it is still there. That's our belief. If somebody gets sick, quick time we run to. They have some, not PI man really, but they just say the prayer. They say prayer, and they are still around. It is still, we still practice it.
While Shirley Johnny has not seen the purported powers of the PI man at work, she claims other prayers work.
I believe in some prayer with diarrhea and vomiting because my grandmother used to do that part.
In Karasabai also, you'd find the indigenous people's belief in Bena, a ritualistic system involving plants that serve different purposes. There's actually a mountain called Bena Mountain where you would find the plants that are used in this still mysterious system.
I hear people talk and say how they make Bena for catching girl and to think man or some kind of thing.
Andrew Albert leads us to a villager who uses the Bena plants.
That one there is they use that for you to be willing. Yeah, if you use that and you use a lazy person, you just use that and go and do plowing, farming, hunting. You'll be willing to. That is the purpose of that plant down there. So this one here is they use it in different twins as well. This one here for do fishing, for different type of fish. There is a bird that catch fish that we usually know as the osprey, eagle. This is the plant of that bird. So it calls different type of fishes. It could be the catfish, it could be whatever fish what is in the river down there. So this one here is another fish down here too. It's a kind of a fine fish. Locally we know it as logo. I don't know if you ever come across that. Yeah, good. This one is it. So when they go in and want to catch logo for the evening meal, they use this leaf, maybe put it on the line one way, rubbing it. So they use that. This one here is the sorry, this one here is the red-brocket deer, the bush deer. This one is the plant for that.
They would do what with that?
They would go with it. They would go with it. Maybe they put some of this sometime in the food, in the plate of the dog, so the dog can find it. They're hunting dog. The other one there is the peccary. It's a hog, the wild pig, the bush pig. They use that as well. So this one here.
Put it on the arrow or something?
No. They walk with it in their pocket, or sometimes they, in the early morning they put it over fire, warm it up, thing up their thing, or sometimes their arrow and the gun. And sometimes they put it in the dog feed as well too.
I'm believing that would attract.
It works.
Animals.
Yeah. They would go. It would lead them wherever the game is, right? And this one here is. He was telling me they use this for a little child, for a baby. When it is like creeping, they use this leaf here, warm it up and warm their knees so that they can walk even before their 1-year birthday anniversary. So these are the plants which is very interesting. So if you have plans to make another child, this is a plant you can come and buy from them.
We now set out to achieve the main objective of our visit to Karasabai, the sun parakeets, we travel along sprawling savanna land, passing Termite City, home of the giant anteaters. Andrew Albert fills us in on the journey ahead.
We're going on the river tour, and your expectation on the river is the sun parakeet. It's number one that we're going to definitely see this afternoon. If that is your first time seeing the live parakeet, not only pictures any longer. So we're going in the wild. We call it the destination, the home of the sun parakeets.
The people of Karasabai in Region 9 are engaged in an ambitious project to protect the beautiful sun parakeets. It is illegal to capture the endangered birds, but that doesn't stop poachers from hunting them.
They were only discovered in 1982, but here in Karasabai. And in the early 60s, there were abundance of the parakeets in and around the village, many of them. And I can't remember the story when the farmers start trapping for trading purposes. They used to trap them. They start trapping the birds.
Oh, trapping?
Yeah.
I thought it said trap.
No, trapping the birds. So there were market open, and people from Georgetown used to buy, some from Latam, and they export them. And most of the parakeets migrate to Brazil, and there was none left. Yeah. So in 1982, the sun parakeets start coming back to Karasabai.
Who noticed them?
There is a farmer by the name of Francino Christopher. He was the first man to locate these parakeets. So from there, then on to now, we start taking it more serious. And we were just trying to protect them, telling people not to trap them anymore. And like today, for last year, November, we did a bird survey, and we had count approximately 406 golden parakeets. Not only in this river we're going now, but at Karabai, we have another place called Morris Mine. So we did those surveys in the area. So that is how we noticed that they increasing rapidly every year. And sometimes we lose because maybe we have predators around as well, so, you know. Yeah, they have the eagles as well. So that is how we have those. They're so special to us that since we start embarking on the ecotourism, nature-based tourism.
Why?
So,
Why are they special?
because they're so special because this is the only area where our clients from foreign countries can come and just to have a look at them in the wild, not anymore in the captivities in cages and whatever you call them. So we have them in the wild. And that's how we have visitors coming in. But it's only because of this COVID-19 lockdown, every business, we hadn't visitors recently.
And the population that you counted last, that's a good population?
There should be more increased by this November is another bird survey for us. Official count for the year again. So we're supposed to get more than last year's count.
Andrew Albert is one of the lead tour guides and takes the lead in ensuring the sun parakeets are protected, safe from poachers. No one in the village is allowed to keep any in cages.
First, it was kind of boring for me, just sitting on one place, waiting for bird to sit down, what type of bird is coming there. But now, I get it to like now. I love doing this, and most of the time I find myself out in the fields than having more time with my family, but I'm always in the field.
Once we've completed our journey on land, we travel up the Ireng River, which separates Guyana and Brazil. The birds migrate to and fro, and it is only in this part of the world you will see them.
Around here, alongside the river, is the feeding area. A lot different fruits they eat. And the fruits that they eat is, it has a lot of sugar inside. Anything sweet, they eat.
What fruits do they eat?
Say again?
What kind of sweet fruits they eat?
Well, commonly known as monkey brush. It's kind of colored flower, kind of brush, like, you know, it's long about this, and it has the color of the parakeet. So when they sit on that brush, you know, it's hard to recognize them, especially when they are feeding. They are so silent eating.
So they feed on that?
They feed on that. And they have beside different fruits. The only thing that I never know is the name of the fruits, in their scientific name. But we know them in Macushi, our language, you know. In Macushi, we call them a wrong fruit, similar to guinea. We call poi. We have the other one, we call it mu, a small fruit, kind of jelly inside, and they open it, yeah. Those are the fruit we have around here, beside the other ones. And then they eat young leaves as well, very young leaves.
Andrew has been following the sun parakeets for years and is an expert on how to find them and where.
And how I recognize them is just by hearing them, you know, because it's nearly 8 years now I'm working with the sun parakeets, so I can hear them from a distance, like 1 km, the farthest distance I could hear them.
Sure enough, a few minutes up the river, our first sighting of the sun parakeets. Bad lighting prevents us from getting a good shot, but there are plenty of opportunities ahead.
It's about next 25 minutes from here to when we will arrive there. Their home down there. When I say home, it's like it's cavities they have there, their nest. Yeah. So that is their roost site. That is their home.
We arrive at this nesting site and Andrew leads us to another area where it is easier to spot the sun parakeets.
You see it, something? Good. There's that yellow thing there. There's the parakeet. You see it?
I see.
Yeah, good, right there.
He has spent many years here using his camera to document sightings of the sun parakeets. Andrew's job includes counting how many sun parakeets there are and to see if there are any juveniles. There is much more that needs to be learned about the sun parakeets, such as how long the hatchlings stay in the nest, the feeding pattern of the young ones, and the interaction with each other. So far, it is known that the sun parakeets are very social and move in groups. Karasabai village hopes that preserving the parakeets would lead to much more revenue for the village, rather than selling them off to poachers. The man in charge of the village now is Marlon Edwards, the local Tushao, as the leaders are called. Like others, he could have migrated, but wants to make a difference in the village and is sure about the prospects from tourism.
Our goal is to have tourism in Karasabai flourishing and becoming a very profitable business so that we can again create employment for our young people in the tourism sector and to boost the village economy in terms of having more money circulated in the village.
Vanya Albert, a local leader, a regional councillor who oversees the villages of the Karasabai sub-district, believes too that tourism could make a difference and provide employment.
We have no employment here. There is no way we can employ our youths in the community. Yes, the government is there to give us employment, but all the youths cannot be employed at one time because some of our youths are employed, but not much, not to that extent we wanted. Right? So that is why our youths go to Brazil and look for jobs.
The village Tushao sees that tourism, with bird watching as the main hub, could generate more revenue for the village. but better roads and communication are key to generate other income earners and generate employment. If you were to get better communication, better roads, what would happen?
I see that the livelihood of the people becoming more improved, and I see more business happening here in Karasabai. Businesses that can create employment opportunities for our people.
Because what are the options? What do people do after school?
That is one of the biggest problems we have in here. Our young people who are qualified with CXC qualifications, they would migrate to neighboring Brazil in search of jobs, because here it is very, very difficult for them to get a job.
So what do you do after school here, if you choose to remain?
Farming, that's one. And if not farming, domestic work, but that too is also very, very limited.
While there are many areas that need improvement, Vanya Albert sees that education should be a priority.
Our children are traveling far to attend secondary schools, to Anai Secondary and St. Ignatius Secondary. And most of our parents cry out of transportation is very important here, because especially visiting our children out there, when there is no transportation access, parents do cry out, right? And so that is why, as a regional councillor, I'm representing my people at any level, whether if it's ministerial visit in my community or in the sub-district and RDC level, that we asking for secondary school and the dormitory for our sub-district here.
We hope Vanya and the people of Karasabai get to see their dreams for their village in this beautiful part of Guyana realized, and it will be well worth it for you to explore. I would definitely be back.